In the Bible reading plan that I follow, August is about the Psalms, and then as we move into September, we come to the Proverbs. And I love the transition, because in the Psalms you've got great poetry that flows. It's just stanza after stanza, and it just blesses you. And then suddenly you come into Proverbs, and it's just 2 lines here and 2 lines there, and they don't necessarily connect up, but there's incredible wisdom. And you think, how do they manage to pack so much wisdom into just a couple of lines? And you could probably look anywhere in Proverbs and just pick out a verse, because very often those are just 2-line verses. And you just think, that is so, so amazing. Now, there is a particular one I want to share with you today. It's in Proverbs chapter 12, and it says this in verse 25. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. It sounds so obvious, but just let's think about it for a moment. It's true, isn't it, that anxiety weighs down the heart. And we have all kinds of things to be anxious about. We even end up being anxious about our anxieties sometimes, don't we? And we know that when we are doing that it does weigh down the heart. You know, it's almost like the inside of you is just being more and more discouraged. And it feels like a weight. You end up not just with the anxieties externally, but they all become internal and they press you down. And probably some of you that are listening to me right now are thinking, hey, that's me. But have you noticed that what it says as a follow-up is a kind word cheers it up? A kind word actually cheers the heart up, changes the inside of the situation. And it's almost like that kind word is so transformative that the heart that's been weighed down suddenly starts being reignited with hope and purpose, and it begins to rise up on the inside of you. And as your heart rises up on the inside of you, as you're cheered up by that heart, it just begins to transform everything. But just think about the word for a moment. It's not just any word that can cheer you up. It has to be a kind word. This isn't about looking at someone who's anxious and full of concerns and coming along and saying, pull yourself together, you know, you've got a lot to be cheerful about. It's actually putting a word to cheer them up in the heart, not just telling them to cheer up, but a kind word, a word that's prepared to say, I understand where you're at. And that's what kindness is. It's meeting people where they're at. And we need that kindness. And so if you're someone today who is feeling anxious, one thing you might be able to do, rather than just looking around to see is there a kind word coming in my direction, is to think about maybe putting a kind word in someone else's direction, that it might cheer their heart up. And before you know where you are, you'll discover that as you've sown, so will you reap, and kind words will be coming in your direction. Let's discover how kind words work, and let's put them into practice, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of other people. And let's see how hearts can be lifted and situations transformed.